This is the story of a servant who pretends to be deaf and mute to get a job at a convent. But what he doesn't know is that this seemingly peaceful place hides some dark and dangerous secrets. Behind the calm and holy smiles of the sisters lie twisted motives and eerie mysteries. As days pass, these secrets begin to unravel. And what begins is a terrifying game that crosses every boundary and leaves nothing untouched. One night, when the truth about the sisters comes to light, this servant finds himself trapped in a nightmare from which escape may no longer be possible. The story begins with Sister Elisa, walking through the forest with her donkey, heading toward the convent. As soon as she arrives, another nun, Sister Flora, questions her sternly. "Where were you last night?" Elisa smiles faintly and replies, "As always, my donkey ran away, and I spent the night looking for it." Flora gives her a suspicious glare. "I always lock the gate properly. How does your donkey keep escaping?" Just then, the convent's gardener, Leo, passes by and greets them with a cheerful, "Good morning." But instead of replying, both sisters scold him and send him away. Later, all the sisters gather in the chapel for morning prayer. Afterward, Mother Superior Maria confronts Elisa again, asking where she was last night. Elisa repeats her story about the runaway donkey, and though Maria says nothing, her stern expression reveals doubt. But behind this repeatedly escaping donkey lies a deeper secret, one that's about to surface. Meanwhile, we're introduced to Sister Jenny, quietly sewing in her room. But her face clearly shows frustration. She doesn't want to be here. She dreams of breaking free from the convent and living life on her own terms. In another scene, Sister Flora and Mother Maria are having a discussion when Flora's eyes fall on an old book. In it, she reads about a strange magical ritual. She only reads a few lines before putting it down, but something has been stirred. Later, Jenny's father visits the convent. During their emotional conversation, he tells her, "I'm trying to find you a good groom, but every man asks for a high dowry." Jenny replies, "If you just stop donating so much to the convent, maybe we could use that money for the wedding." But her father insists, "That wouldn't be right. You focus on your studies and your future. Marriage or not, you must live with pride." Jenny hides her disappointment. She dreams of a happy life, and in her mind, marriage is the path to it. The next day, we see all three sisters walking out of the convent, carrying the clothes they've woven. Jenny, still stuck on her father's words, shares her feelings with the others, who also grow silent. Suddenly, they notice Leo, the gardener, watching them from a corner with a strange look in his eyes. Their anger explodes. They rush back and start throwing out his belongings, even beating him up, and order him to leave the convent. Meanwhile, Father Thomas is heading to the market to sell the convent's handmade clothes. On the way, he meets Leo, who begs him, "Please forgive me, Father, but I can't work at the convent anymore. Those sisters beat me, called me a wild animal. It happens every day." Father Thomas tries to calm him down. "Just stay for 3 more days. I promise things will change." But Leo refuses and walks away. Then, we shift to a house miles away from the convent, where Lord Bruno, a wealthy landowner, is having dinner with his wife, Francesca. But Francesca's attention is elsewhere, on their servant Michael. The two exchange looks. There's clearly something more going on between them. That night, when they're alone, Francesca says, "My husband talks a lot, but he never makes me happy." As they get close, they hear footsteps. Bruno is approaching. Michael panics and tries to escape through the window. Bruno catches a glimpse of someone sneaking away and becomes suspicious. He storms into the servants' quarters, determined to find the man, but Michael is one step ahead. He quickly runs back and pretends to be asleep. Bruno checks each servant one by one. When he approaches Michael, he notices his heartbeat racing, but due to the darkness, he can't identify him clearly. So, to confirm in the morning, he secretly snips a small lock of Michael's hair. However, once Bruno leaves, Michael acts smart and quickly trims a bit of hair from every servant, making it impossible to tell who the culprit is. The next morning, Bruno lines up all the servants and inspects them. But to his shock, everyone's hair is slightly trimmed, and he realizes the man he's looking for is not only guilty but also very clever. Furious, he declares, "If I ever catch the one I'm looking for, I'll have him hanged." He then orders everyone's hair to be cut even shorter. Later at lunch, Bruno sits with Francesca and warns her sternly, "I know you're involved. If I find that servant, your fate will be no better than his." But Francesca, unfazed, mocks him. "All you ever do is threaten. You'll do nothing." At that moment, Bruno notices subtle gestures exchanged between Francesca and Michael. Now, he knows Michael is the man he's looking for. Later, when Michael is at work, Francesca approaches him and tries to seduce him. But this time, Bruno sees them from a distance. Filled with rage, he orders his men, "Find him and bring me his head." Michael senses the danger and runs. Bruno's men chase him through the forest, but he manages to escape and flee far away. Exhausted and desperate, Michael stumbles upon Father Thomas, whose carriage has overturned after drinking too much. His clothes are floating in a nearby stream. Michael helps collect them. Grateful, Father Thomas learns that Michael has nowhere to go and offers him shelter at the convent. That night, Father gives him food and a warning. You'll have to pretend to be deaf and mute here. The sisters are difficult. They'll make life hard for you. The next day, Father Thomas introduces Michael to Sister Maria, saying, he's hardworking but deaf and mute. He'll be taking Leo's place starting today. Maria agrees and hires him. Michael begins working quietly, but sisters Jenny and Elisa have no idea about the new arrival. When Elisa sees Michael, she mistakes him for an intruder and charges at him with an axe. She demands, "Who are you?" But before anything escalates, Maria intervenes and explains, "He's our new gardener. He cannot hear or speak." Only then does Elisa back off. Later, Maria informs Jenny that the woven clothes were stolen by robbers on the way to the market, and all their hard work has been wasted. "We'll need to work faster now," she says, "and we'll need more help to meet the demand." Jenny is then paired with an older nun, Sister Vayo, to resume weaving. But when her sewing frame breaks, she goes to Michael to get it repaired. Sister Flora secretly watches her. As Michael silently fixes the frame, Jenny vents, "I don't want to live like this, sewing day and night. I want to live life my own way." She pours her heart out, assuming Michael is deaf and mute, safe to confide in. That night, Father Thomas checks in on Michael and asks, "How was your first day? Be patient. The sisters can be difficult." Michael assures the father, "Don't worry, I can handle it. Some of the sisters are a bit strong-headed, but I'll manage." Meanwhile, Eliza is reading in her room when a small stone taps against her window. She opens it to see her childhood friend Millie standing outside. The two head to Jenny's room, where all three start sipping wine and sharing laughs. Soon, Sister Flora joins them, and the group starts chatting and giggling. As the wine sets in, they begin to talk about romantic tales. Millie then reveals a secret herb called belladonna, said to be used in special ways to make someone irresistibly charming. The others listen eagerly, curious and excited. The next morning, while Michael is working in the garden, Jenny arrives and offers him a handkerchief she made for him. She wipes his sweat with it, sits beside him, and they begin to talk. In a spontaneous moment, Jenny leans in and gently kisses him. Michael responds to the gesture, and they find themselves momentarily swept away. But just then, the church bell rings, bringing them back to reality. Jenny quickly composes herself and rushes off to prayer. During the prayer session, Eliza notices dirt on Jenny's scarf and under her nails, which makes her suspicious. Later, while washing clothes, Flora and Eliza see Jenny and start chatting. Jenny casually mentions how fun last night was. Eliza questions her, asking why her clothes are so dirty if she never usually helps with any hard work. Jenny laughs and says she was helping the new gardener with some digging, which surprises them. Eliza senses something is being hidden. She and Millie later venture into the woods and gather belladonna leaves. They boil it into a thick liquid. Millie then drops some of it into Eliza's eyes and smears a small bit of her own blood on Eliza's cheeks, all part of a ritual. Flora secretly observes all of this. Later, Eliza and Millie go to Michael's room. Eliza threatens him with a knife, but instead of harm, they begin to seductively lure him. At first, Michael is stunned, unsure of what's happening, but gradually, he finds himself caught up in the moment, and things take a more intimate turn. Afterward, the girls quietly slip out. Flora approaches and asks what they were doing there. They make excuses and leave, but Flora now suspects something is going on. The next day, Head Father Lawrence visits the convent. Meanwhile, Michael sneaks into Jenny's room. They again grow close, lost in their emotions, but suddenly, Sister Vayo walks in. In a panic, Michael accidentally speaks out loud, shocking Jenny. She quickly covers up, helps Vayo, and Michael hides under the bed. Luckily, Vayo is hard of hearing, so the secret is safe. Michael escapes through the window. Flora, determined to impress Michael, prepares her own batch of belladonna, but mistakenly drinks it instead of applying it to her eyes. She draws a little blood and applies it to her face. Later, Jenny visits Michael and asks why he lied about being mute. Suddenly, they hear Flora approaching. Jenny hides, and Michael pretends to sleep. In her altered state, Flora clings to Michael and begins acting strangely. Just then, Eliza's footsteps are heard. Flora also hides in the same spot as Jenny. Eliza enters, ties Michael's hands, blindfolds him, and drags him out toward the woods. Shocked, Jenny and Flora secretly follow them. As they go deeper into the forest, night falls. They witness a group of girls dancing around a fire. Michael is tied nearby. Jenny whispers, What are they gonna do? Flora answers, I've read of a ritual where girls gain powers through sacrifice. It is then revealed that Eliza had been sneaking out every night for this purpose, and Millie is now a part of it. Just as they are about to harm Michael, he screams, please let me go, revealing he's not actually mute. At the same time, a dazed Flora begins to lose control. Flora, overwhelmed by the effects of the herb, loses control and joins the strange ritualistic dance with the other girls. Witnessing this, the others become frightened and flee the scene. Millie, furious, confronts Flora, and a physical altercation breaks out between them. Meanwhile, Eliza is just about to harm Michael as part of the ritual, but Jenny arrives just in time, snatches the knife away from her, and rescues Michael. During the fight between Millie and Flora, Flora strikes Millie with a stick, rendering her unconscious. She quickly puts on Millie's clothes, grabs the donkey, and rushes back to the convent. Gasping for breath, she calls out loudly, prompting Father Lawrence to come outside. Flora starts telling him that Eliza is practicing witchcraft. Just then, Jenny, Eliza, and Michael arrive, and Jenny insists that Flora is making up stories under the influence of something. Flora insists she is telling the truth, that they were performing something strange in the forest. Father Lawrence becomes furious and immediately summons Sister Maria, demanding an explanation. At that moment, Father Thomas steps out of Maria's room, shocking everyone. Father Lawrence now clearly understands what has truly been going on in the convent. The next day, Father Lawrence announces punishment for everyone involved and instructs them to seek forgiveness from God. Father Thomas, being the guardian of the convent, is given the harshest punishment and is sent to a remote monastery where only men reside. Michael is handed over to Lord Bruno, whose soldiers immediately imprison him. The three sisters, Jenny, Eliza, and Flora, realize their mistakes and apologize to each other. But their worry for Michael grows. Knowing that Lord Bruno will not spare him, they begin planning a way to save him. Lord Bruno, meanwhile, throws Michael into a dark cell and later taunts him, saying he tied his wife to wild beasts as punishment. He threatens Michael with an even worse fate the next day. After Bruno leaves, Michael pleads with the guards to let him go, but they refuse. Moments later, a tortoise carrying a burning candle walks by. Curious, the guards follow it. Unbeknownst to them, the sisters had sent the tortoise as a distraction. Seizing the moment, the sisters sneak in, free Michael, and replace him with a dummy. They dress him in nun's clothing and flee into the forest. Meanwhile, Maria arrives at Father Thomas's place with a donkey. They had fallen in love and couldn't stay apart. Hearing voices, they hide. Eliza then spots her donkey and wonders how it got there, but Flora quickly distracts her and leads her away. Maria and Thomas come out and realize the sisters have helped Michael escape. They smile at the cleverness and bravery of the girls. And with that, this unique and thrilling story comes to an end.